Exciting, y'all. In this video, I'll be ranking all of the branches, basic trainings or boot camps, from the most hard and grueling to pass to the easiest summer camp. Looking at you, Air Force. Now, I am in the Army, so the only boot camp I did was U.S. Army boot camp. However, I'm going to be as unbiased as possible when ranking these. Let's start with number 6. Yes, there's 6 branches now, not 5. The easiest boot camp that the U.S. military has to offer. And I think we can all agree that goes to the U.S. Space Force. Space Force boot camp is 7.5 weeks long, tied with Air Force for the shortest length boot camps you're gonna have in the U.S. military. They are trained at Lackland Air Force Base, and they actually train alongside with the Air Force nerds during boot camp because it's almost the same thing. I'm probably wondering, what did they get taught at Space Force boot camp? Because I was wondering the exact same thing before doing research for this video. Basically, they're taught space operation fundamentals, satellites, cyber awareness, basically all the nerdy IT stuff that the rest of the military does. On top of that, of course, they're taught military customs and courtesies, but from an Air Force lens. As a matter of fact, I believe a lot of the current NCOs and officers in the Space Force were already in the Air Force. They were asked if they wanted to switch to this new branch, and they said yes. So all of the Space Force drill sergeants are essentially Air Force drills conducting boot camp in a similar way. Overall focus of Space Force boot camp is that the trainees are technical professionals first and a warfighter second, making this by far the easiest basic training the U.S. military has to offer. Again, not saying it's easy, I'm just saying it's easy in comparison to the other branches, especially when you hear about what be going on at Parris Island, but that's for later in the video. Number 5, drum roll please. Number 5, U.S. Air Force. Number 5 on the list of boot camps is U.S. Chair Force basic training. Like I said earlier, it's 7.5 weeks of summer camp boot camp. At Air Force boot camp, you might have a room service meal delivered to your barracks before going to school at 10:15 in the morning. Nah, I'm just playing. I have to make fun of the Air Force as a soldier because there's a little rivalry there, and this is an Army channel if you haven't noticed. They also go to Lackland Air Force Base for boot camp and can go just about all over the U.S. for their AIT, or they call it tech training. They don't even call them barracks, by the way. They call it dorms. Like they call them dorms. Some of the key things they learn in boot camp are Air Force values, teamwork, and air power concepts. They actually do shoot a weapon. They have to qualify in the M4 just like us. But I did see in my Wrath in the Air Force basic video that they get to use CCOs or sights on the M4s. And oh my goodness. Air Force drill sergeants are a little intimidating to most 18-year-olds, I guess. But they do lose a little aura with their hats being that blue shade, but it fits them though. Like the blue just makes sense for their branch. But I would be struggling to not laugh if they were yelling at me, because it's like you got pulled over by the world's angriest state trooper. The overall focus of Air Force boot camp is to create disciplined and technical airmen, and I think they do just that. Number 4, this might surprise some. Number 4, U.S. Navy boot camp. U.S. Navy boot camp is 10 weeks of cold fun at Naval Station Great Lakes in Illinois, about 50 minutes drive from Chicago. Now, basic training involves a lot of being outside, like a lot. So I'm not gonna act like the cold of being that far up north and doing basic training isn't a factor to how hard it is, at least for most people. Like some folks can be in 30-degree temperatures and not have a problem with it. Me personally, if I'm in freezing temperatures for too long, my body starts like losing the ability to move quickly. Like my muscles themselves are freezing. Some of the key things recruits are taught at Navy Basic are seamanship basics, shipboard life, water survival, and probably one of the most important, swim qualifications. That's right, if you go to Navy Basic training without knowing how to swim, you will come out 10 weeks later knowing how to swim. I can only imagine how stressful that is for folks like me who get in the water and sink like it's bricks tied to my ankle. Just last year, I learned the basics of swimming, like just enough to not drown at the summer pool parties. They do have to shoot a weapon, but it's not the M4. They have to call it the M9 pistol. The Navy does have rifle training, but only for a specific job. In my opinion, the M9 is way easier to shoot and qualify with than the M4. Navy drill instructors actually yell at you and in your face like the Army. And from what I've seen, they smoke you, which is physical exercise as punishment at the same intensity as Army drill sergeant. Overall focus of Navy boot camp is discipline and surviving at sea. Number 3, U.S. Coast Guard. You told me a year ago that I would put the Coast Guard as number 3 on the list of most difficult boot camps. I would say you and I are both crazy. But Coast Guard's basic training is actually underratedly hard. Coast Guard basic training is 8 weeks of intense fun at Training Center at Cape May in New Jersey. It's 2 weeks shorter than Navy boot, but it's an intense 8 weeks, man. Like, I'm not lying to you. Key things recruits are taught at Coast Guard basic are seamanship, maritime law and enforcement, firefighting, and search and rescue fundamentals. Just like the Navy, no M4s for their basic training. They have to shoot and qualify with the M9 pistol. Coast Guard drill instructors are the real deal and are not somebody I want to tick off. Just me personally. Like their drill instructors remind me of all the branches drills combined into one with all that blue they be wearing. Like, tell me this don't look like the angriest janitor you ever seen in your entire life. Overall takeaway they want their recruits to learn is small teams working together as opposed to like other branches focusing on a big team, and a small team succeeding or failing together. Like, failing as a team can cause the whole mission to fail. Number 2, U.S. Army basic training. Number 2 most difficult basic training in the military is U.S. Army boot camp. Talk about this one for days. Yeah, ask me why. Army basic is 10 weeks of HUA activities that actually occur at 4 different locations in the U.S. They are Fort Benning, Georgia, Fort Jackson, South Carolina, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Now, which one you go to depends on your MOS and availability, but do know if you're going to Fort Benning like I did, well, good luck. You have a very interesting time. Key things trainees are taught at Army boot camp are land navigation, tactical movements and formations, first aid, Army values, and overall like how to endure. I say one of the main things they value, at least when it comes to teaching trainees, is that mentality of being given a task that seems impossible and thinking, I'm gonna try it anyway. But what if I fail? Not, there is no fail. I'm already heading out there. Side note, if you went to basic training, did your instructors call you trainees? Because at my cycle, they called us maggots. Literally like it was the 80s or something. Like, we had drill sergeants still calling us maggots. I heard me move over here, maggot. I'm pretty sure they were supposed to be saying trainee, but like I said, Fort Benning is a very interesting place. Army trainees are required to shoot and qualify with their M4 carbine weapons, not a gun. I should dare call it a gun. Weapon qual is a huge part of basic, with white phase of basic consisting of you basically living with your M4 and shooting it just about every day. This is all you'll shoot in Army basic. However, if you do OSUT or one station unit training, you'll learn and shoot under 249, 240, good shoot it M18 pistol, machine guns, especially for those infantry cats doing OSUT. Army drill sergeants, like I've described in other videos, don't care that you're sore, don't care that you got 2 hours of sleep last night. They don't care that you're missing home. If you don't accomplish a task they're giving you, prepare to push. They are hard on recruits, but it's coming from a place of trying to make you better, which is kind of hard to tell during those first few weeks. Those first few weeks, they seem like psychos that enjoy your suffering. Overall takeaway from Army basic wants it to turn regular civilians into soldiers who can fight and endure. Number 1 hardest boot camp there is. Number 1, U.S. Marine Corps boot camp. The decibel level just increased. Yes, the movies and TV shows are correct. USMC boot camp is the 6th level of hell. This one is number 1. It's not even close. Day 1 of Marine basic training, and you will regret signing the dotted line. USMC boot camp is 13. Yeah, that's right. 13 miserable weeks of URA activities that can take place in 2 locations. MCRD Paris Island, what is it, Alcatraz, like prison on an island type beat, and MCRD San Diego. Key thing recruits are taught at Marine boot camp are rifle marksmanship, endurance, fieldcraft, and that weird yodeling cadence calling that they do, which by the way sounds tough. I'm not knocking it. It sounds good. It's just so weird to hear from how we usually call it. Marine recruits are required to shoot and qualify with the M16A4 rifle, and they have a huge culture of marksmanship. Like, that's an essential part of not only their basic, but actually being a Marine too. And not cutting corners. Like, it don't matter what your job is in the Marines. You'll be nice with the weapon or else. Every branch touches a weapon in boot camp, but only one builds its entire identity around the rifle. Marine Corps drill instructors might just be demons, bro. Being honest with you. The exorcism is you graduating boot camp. Air drills are loud, aggressive, seem a little deranged at some points, but from what I heard from insider sources, they actually are there to train you to Marine standard. If you make a mistake in front of them, guy and whoever is right next to you. All of this is, of course, to build discipline, and the Marine dudes have this discipline like down pat. It's in their whole culture. Like, even after you graduate, there's still just a higher standard of discipline that none of the other branches have, which could be a good thing if you're into that kind of stuff, I guess. Me personally, I'm not trying to be getting smoked for an hour because someone sneezed in formation. Overall takeaway for Marine boot camp is the breaking down of the individual, you know, the civilian, and the building up of the Marine. And I think they do that pretty well. So that's it. All of the basic trainings listed from least difficult to most difficult. You think I got one of them wrong or all of them out of order? Comment below, let me know what you think. Me personally, I feel like this is pretty spot on. You want to hear about the top 10 things you should never say to Army drill sergeant? Look right here.